Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. The title of the show this evening is titled The Dark Side. But before I get started with this, I'd like to say, Happy New Year to you all out there, and I hope that your holidays have been great and full of love, full of fun, full of happiness. But I want to go ahead and elaborate on the dark side. There's so much to be said about this. A lot of times we, even myself, we slip into a dark side that we don't even see coming. We don't actually see that coming because there's so many negatives that lie there. But when you're living in the light, meaning that everything is going right, your job is going great, you have a great family, you have a great, future with your job, a future with your friends, just a good future in general. And when things like that are happening, sometimes we have a tendency to get relaxed. We just get relaxed because bills are paid, and everything is looking up. But there comes a time when things are looking so good, you want to try to hold on to them. But you may find yourself slipping. You may find yourself doing or saying or getting involved in things that you don't even see the outcome because of the way that you are presently living. Like I said, you're feeling good about your life, and you should feel good about your life. But now all of a sudden, you start to entertain things where things are so relaxed for you. You start to entertain maybe going to the bars. You start maybe hanging out with individuals that may not have your best interests at heart. You start to slip into a dark side of your mind where you think that things will be just fine because things in the background are so good. You don't see the path that you're taking. You don't see the people that you're around because, see, again, things are so good, so you feel that you can dip and dive into things that may not be in your best interest and they may not have an effect on you. See, this is when you start to slowly go into the dark side of your mind. You may stop by and get one drink after work. All of a sudden, that one drink turns into two drinks. That two drinks turn into three. Now you're meeting individuals at the bar that's actually making you laugh. You're actually having a good time. Now these are individuals you may not even know. And now they start to invite you to play a game of pool. They start to invite you, hey, come over to the house sometime. And you're feeling good based on how you are feeling at the present moment, not knowing that you're leaving the comforts of a very, very clean, healthy life. You don't even see it coming. Now all of a sudden you are doing things with this individual. You're calling this individual. Activities are moving in not so good of a direction, but you still overlook it because you have this good job. You have this good environment at home. Like I said, everything in the background is so good to you and so good for you. But you, again, don't see you slipping into the darkness. Because, see, the darkness has a way of creeping up on all of us. We start to get involved and make conversations and even travel a different path. At one time, we would go straight home. We would take care of business, but all of a sudden you're letting these things slip by. You're not taking care of things. You're not constantly doing what you did in the past to have that beautiful, comfortable life, because that exists. You look at this other side as being something of comfort, exciting to you. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you that we have to be careful with. We have to recognize that the dark side exists. We have to recognize that we can slip into this and actually get caught up in it before you even know it. You may be getting involved with someone in the beginning that showed you a lot of attention, a lot of care, whether it's someone at your job, whether it's someone outside of your job, whether it's just a person that you meet. You have to understand that sometimes people come into your life, and let's just be real with this, they start out good. The job starts out good. The interactions start out good. But as we go on in time, you start to question things. And see, and that's where it begins. When you start to feel that things are getting out of order, that's when you know you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, 1 foot in the darkness and 1 foot out of the darkness. So you have to sit back and evaluate what's actually taking place in your life. You have to sit back and think to yourself, am I heading in a different direction? Am I slipping into an area where I don't know anything about? I don't know these people. I don't know what their agendas are. I don't know anything. But because I'm entertaining myself because of my lifestyle. I feel so good about it. I can afford to slip out and meet new people. I can afford to slip out and go to this social over here. I can afford to go to this party over here. I can afford to do these things because I'm living righteous. All right now. This is where you have to think this thing through. Just because you're presently living righteous doesn't mean that you're not gradually slipping into things that doesn't mean you any good. You may be on your job, and let me just be real with some things again. You may start to see someone that has your attention, and you have their attention, and they have your attention, and you may start to say to yourself, hey, you know, I'm going to ask this individual out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You're slipping. See, you're slipping into the dark side. Because now the more you get involved with this situation, the more you get involved with this situation, you're taking things away from your home life. Whether you be married or whether you just be shacking up or whatever the case may be, that individual is going to start to require more time of you. And likewise, see, you're slipping. You're slipping. You're going into a certain area where you know activities may not be in your best interest. But because of the excitement in that particular area, you continue to go. I had such a good time yesterday. I had such a good time last week. Now things are starting to appeal to you. You're starting to look at things like, what am I doing? You know, where am I going? Now you're starting to neglect your kids at home. You're starting to neglect your significant other at home. You're starting to neglect the things that holds your happiness. You understand what I'm saying? You're starting to neglect the things that hold your happiness because of what entertains you in the dark. And see, there's always excitement in the dark. There's always excitement because it's a new adventure. It's a new thing to you. You start to look at that and you can't wait to get off. You can't wait to entertain this. And I'm not saying don't make new friends. And I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself in different environments. Just understand that it is a new environment, and just understand that new things will come your way. Just understand that you're not in your comfort zone for a certain amount of time, that you're actually entertaining yourself. You have to understand, man, darkness comes gradually. Even when the sun sets, it just doesn't drop down and there's an instant darkness out there. You see the sun setting slowly and the darkness rising slowly. But before you know it, it's dark outside. See, these are things that can actually happen to you, where the things happen so slowly that you don't even see the darkness consuming you. And what I mean by the darkness consuming you, it means that you don't start to question it. You just let it happen because it feels good and it looks good, and at the present moment in the darkness, it is good. Man. And once you fall into it, once people in your past circle start to recognize that there's a change in you, they start to say, hey, you know, haven't seen you over here lately with your significant other and your kids. You used to come to the baseball game, or you used to do this, or you used to do that, and I see your wife there, or your girlfriend, or what I see that she's, you know, have the kids and everything, and you don't even see it. You don't even feel it because of the excitement in the dark. Like I said, the dark side gradually takes over. I was talking to someone this morning, and this individual told me that now this individual is totally out of the dark now. See, that's it. You better hurry up and realize that you're moving into the darkness, and you need to hurry up and realize that you need to get out of the darkness, because the darkness can be like quicksand. You can go in there and stay but for so long, and eventually your head goes under, and everything out of the quicksand is still above ground, but you are underground. I had an individual this morning tell me that they have just started to recognize their children. This individual, he put chills on me. He said that he was so far in his addiction, and I would say he was so far in the dark. He said he didn't even really recognize his children. Now, this individual has been drug-free for 1 year. And I was talking to him. He was an entirely different person. He said, I am so glad that I'm out of the dark. I'm able to see things now. I'm able to see the individuals who may not mean me any good. I'm able to see where I need to be. Now, this individual is a supervisor of a job because he has jumped out of the darkness into the light. See, that's what I'm saying. You want to recognize things. You want to recognize where you are going. Do not continue to make excuses for your activities, for your involvements, for the people that you associate yourself with. Do not make excuses. If something is wrong, it's wrong. If something doesn't look good, it's not good. Don't sit up there and try to sugarcoat it and say to yourself, hey, well, I just went over here and did that. Now, all of a sudden, you coming home late. You're not going to your job on time. But you think because you have an understanding supervisor, you think everything is going to be all right. But see, that supervisor is not in that supervisory position for nothing. He or she is monitoring every move that you are making, documenting it. Then it comes to a point where he or she has to say something to you. Bring it to your attention that your job performance is falling. You're not saying or being productive as you used to be. What's the problem? And you're telling your supervisor, well, I'm just going through some things right now. See, even admitting to yourself that you're going through some things right now is a definite sign that you're slipping into the dark side without even realizing it, because other people start to bring to your attention, man, you don't look the same. You don't have the same conversation. These individuals are not criticizing. They're giving you constructive criticism. And these are signs that something is going on in your life that you need to change. Stop sugarcoating it. Stop making believe this is a temporary thing, because it can be temporary. But if you continue to do what you're presently doing to move you into the darkness, then eventually the lights will go out. The lights will go out in your mind. And you're wondering why the people on your job are treating you differently, saying things to you. You're wondering why your dinner is not prepared when you get home. You're wondering why the kids don't want to talk to you anymore. You're wondering why things are going on in your life in a negative way and you cannot even see it coming. Because you're making excuses for yourself. You're in the dark side and don't even know it. But see, all is not lost. All is not lost. Because if there is someone, there is always someone out there, a friend, a family member, a loved one, who's seeing that darkness in you. And this is not the time to ignore the love that they are trying to show you. Stop making excuses and listen to what they have to say, because they are not saying these things to condemn you. They're saying these things because they care. Because I don't know who this person is. This is not the person that I fell in love with. This is not the person that I knew a year ago. So they're talking to you, trying to give you constructive criticism, but because you're on the dark side, you think they're picking. You think, oh, they always have something negative. If you look back and reach back, they have never said anything negative about you. What you have done, you brought the negativity, well, actually it's called constructive criticism. You brought that out in them to try to repair and help you. Man, I'm saying that out there, if you have positive people in your life and individuals who can properly back you up, don't think that they are saying things to hurt you. They see you slipping. And quiet as is kept, as they say, you see it too. You realize it. You realize you're falling. But see, you so lost in the darkness. See, you can't move it around in your mind to a point where you can accept it, because you don't want to be in the dark. It's like being in a maze in your mind. You don't know what direction to go. And every wall and every turn, you're always hitting something. So you don't know what to do. So all you can do is make excuses and try to justify that, because we always want to make ourselves feel good about things. We don't never want to point the finger at ourselves. We don't ever want to do that. We don't ever want to point the finger at ourselves like it's something wrong with us. We always want to blame someone else. But the reality is, it's you. It's you. If you're out there and you're questioning what you're doing, and the mere fact that you have to question it means that something ain't right. You know, and I'm not sitting up here trying to sit up here and say that I've never been in the dark side. I've been in the dark side too. I'm pretty sure the people out there in the listening world, they have been there in the dark side too. We just happen to pull ourselves out. That's not a pretty place. That's not a pretty feeling. That's not a pretty emotion. When you're robbing yourself of a bright, happy, joyous life. That's not a pretty feeling, man. See, when you're in the dark side, and you feel like you can't come back, all right, now hear me very loud and clear with this. That's when emotions, unwanted emotions come in. Unwanted feelings come in, and I think you all out there know exactly what I'm talking about. When you feel there's nowhere else to go, there's no one else to call. Yeah. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's the time to call on Jesus. I understand that. But first and foremost, you need to understand that Jesus, God, or whomever your higher power may be, it lies within us all. When you're recognizing something is wrong with you, within yourself, there is a God. There is a spirit. There is a meaning for feeling to continue to live and live right. It lies in all of us. So don't get to the point where you feel there's nowhere else to go. Just the mere fact that you are recognizing something wrong, that means that you are reaching deep into the dark side of your mind. And the brightness, the light is shining through. You're getting a little glimpse of that light, meaning that you have, okay, I have to do something about this. I have to do something about this because I'm slipping. Don't you slip into that darkness. Like I said before, you can slip into the darkness and do not even know that you're slipping. When you lie down in the innocence of night, when there's no outside forces, when there's no car horns blowing and people calling your name and people waving at you, and this car just pulled out in front of you, your mind is so confused and congested with things. It only comes to you when you're lying down at night, when you realize that change needs to come. Because see, now you're working. You're working with your spirit. You're working with your feelings. You're working with your emotions. There's nothing on the outside that's trying to get in. You're lying down in the innocence of life, in the innocence of night, trying to shine the light on the darkness of what you need to do in order to get out of the darkness. The dark side. We all have it. We all have a side of us. We all have a side of us that like to be entertained. And just because it's entertainment, it doesn't mean it's good entertainment. It could just be satisfying the emotions and the senses and the feelings at that moment, not looking at what lies down the road in the darkness. There are traps in the darkness. There are traps that can hold you there. And the next thing you know, your whole world is upside down. Look at it. Understand what's there. Move the debris from around the path to see what you're stepping on. Move the debris in your thoughts. Move the debris in your feelings, in your emotions, in your mind. Just move it. Think it through. Go for a walk. Go for a walk. Don't walk in the directions where the lights may dim. Don't even take the dog. You go and you take a walk. And don't walk around people. See, don't walk around people. Sometimes people can be a distraction. You need to deal with you. See, you can pull yourself out of this. You just have to be real with yourself. You can pull yourself out of this because, see, there's a good and a bad in all of us. And if we pay attention to the good side, it always overpowers the bad side. Hear me on that. But see, the bad side feels so good sometimes. Oh, you know that's right. That bad side feels so good, man. I'm feeling good on this bad side. I'm happy doing this thing. But see, the good side, your consciousness is looking and feeling, oh man, you heading in the wrong direction. Now all of a sudden, the subconscious deal with the conscious. And it starts to reveal itself to you, making you realize that you're making some wrong decisions. You're involved with some wrong things. It's trying to pull you out. When that little glimpse of happiness, that little glimpse of light, when it's starting to shine in, man, it's recognizing that you heading in the wrong direction. So, again, recognize when you're walking or heading towards the dark side. Just recognize it. It's a deep feeling. It's a sad feeling. Wouldn't you rather be living happy, feeling glad about life? Love and happiness brings about longevity. Stay out of the dark side, regardless if it makes you feel good or not. This has been Ryal Thomas with the Ryal Thomas Show. If you have any questions, I'm putting my information up on the screen. Give me a call or you can write me. I want to thank you for tuning in. Again, stay out of the dark side. Thank you very much.